Hi, today we talk to a well-known Japanese scholar who brilliantly explains us the hub and spokes alliance system. Really fantastic. We also talk about the regional situation in Asia, also about Taiwan, and everything that's recently been going on in Japan. Thank you very much and welcome to the show. Hi everyone, today we have a guest from Japan. It's Dr. Satoru Nagao, fellow non-resident from the Hudson Institute. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Good, thank you for your time. Could you please tell us a few words about yourself? A short introduction,
Okay.
okay?
My subject is Japan, India, and the US security cooperation. So Quad or Indo-Pacific, these are the area I am covering. But originally, my background is the defense security issue. So I'm not expert of the area studies. But at the same time, recent watch, the area is connected in the especially the strategic area. For example, the Indo-Pacific, the Pacific side and Indian Ocean is one under the one concept. So this is very big. So under such kind of situations, my specialty is defense and security covering India, especially. So that is current situation. And so my PhD thesis was India's military strategy, first one in Japan. Because no one want to research about this topic indeed. So that's why I focusing on. And
Okay,
I'm very pro India.
thank you very much. So maybe we can start with the latest news, the recent clash on the Indian-Chinese border. Okay, maybe you could tell us a little bit why again, why at this time, and what its significance.
Of course, this is significant. Sorry. India is a key country in the Quad and Indo-Pacific. Why the Prime Minister Shinzo Abe of Japan focusing on the Indo-Pacific? In the past, people say Asia-Pacific instead of Indo-Pacific. But he tried to combine the Pacific side and Indian Ocean. Because he focusing on India, because he focusing on China. China is growing, China is threat. Under such a situation, if we try to create new concept, including countries, all countries sharing border with China. In this case, Indo-Pacific is better than Asia-Pacific. And how about Quad? Quad is a group of the great powers in the Indo-Pacific, except China. So that is the reason both the Indo-Pacific, the Quad, the India, including India, is key in as a counter-China strategy. In the China border issue is a vital part of this strategy. Because without this, India is not a key country in the counter-China strategy. If something happen, China, for example, China provoke against Taiwan, Japan, Vietnam, India at the same time. And if these countries cooperate each other, Japan, Vietnam, India, or of course US and Australia, of course, in this case, what happened? China need to divide their defense budget multi-fronts. So if something has happened in the Indian-China border area, this is not the issue for India, not only for India. This is the issue for all of the countries around China. And we can make China the multiple fronts and divide their defense expenditure and deter China's provocation. That's why if something happens in the India-China border area, this is a key part. And my talk is a little long, but I would add one thing. When we check the number of the incursion in the India-China border area, and when we compare this number, the China's activity, the East China Sea, there is a similarities. In 2011, this has China hasn't provoked so much in the both area,
Yes.
the sea around Senkaku and India-China border area. But in 2012, it has jumped, increased. And after that, the same level continue, very high level continue. But in 2019, jump again in the both the sea around Senkaku Island and India-China border area. So that's why what happened in the India-China border area is what happened in the East China Sea.
Okay.
That's why two areas connected. That's why these countries around China should cooperate each other and to deter China's provocation.
Okay.
I
Thank
should
you.
not talk too much, too long. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you very much. That was enlightening. I would like now to ask a little bit about the security cooperation. Japan is expanding and cooperating with more and more countries in the region. Among others, we have India, technology transfer, we have Vietnam, also cooperation, credit lines, and Australia. We also have the joint declaration on security cooperation, and Japan is considering sending advanced F-35s and other fighter aircraft on rotational deployments. And we might have also cooperation with the Philippines in the making. So could you please elaborate a little bit on this growing network and cooperation, maybe particular cases and also in general? What's the attitude and what's the change in Japan?
Okay, to talk about this, we need to understand the pattern of China's provocation. What happened in the South China Sea is a good example. When the military balance has changed, when the power vacuum has happened, China tried to steal it. That is a pattern. In 1950s, when France withdrew from Indochina Peninsula, they take the half of the Paracel Island. In 1990s, when the American troops withdraw from Vietnam, China take another half of the Paracel Island. In 1970s, when the Soviet troops stay in the Vietnam, reduce the number, China expands the activity in the Spratly Island and occupies 6 features. In 1990s, same pattern has happened. When the US troops withdraw from Philippines, China take the Mischief Reef. So when the military balance has changed, and when they find the power vacuum, they try to steal it. That is China's pattern. So to deter China's territorial expansion, what should we do? For a long time, the US leads the hub and spoke system as a security system to maintain order in this region. That is not enough to deal with China's provocation when we check the recent activity of China. But when we check the feature of this system, what is the weak point, what is strong point, maybe this is the point we can improve. In the hub and spoke system, hub is the United States, and US allies like Japan, Australia, or Philippines, Thailand, South Korea, these are spokes. In this case, the US ally with these countries, but these allies do not cooperate each other. For example, the Japan and Australia, both are US allies, but Japan and Australia is not ally. In this case, this system heavily dependent on the United States. US can get all of information, and if something happens, US help these spokes as a hub. That is the current system. That is the traditional system. But the weak point of this system is, if the US-China military balance has changed, automatically, full system loses credibility because heavily dependent on the United States. So recently, US asked these spokes cooperate each other. That is a network-based system. That is a reason the Japan need to cooperate. For example, under this network-based system, Japan cooperate with Australia. Japan cooperate with the Philippines. So, and this bilateral, trilateral, or quadrilateral unilateral networks, create a bigger system and sharing burden with the US. That's why this system is more stronger than the hub and spoke. So, yes, China's military modernization, the pace is very fast. That's why we need a new system and a network-based system. The allies, spokes, should cooperate each other. And in this case, there are a variety of the bilateral cooperation, trilateral cooperation, and quadrilateral cooperation. Quad, AUKUS, these are also part of it. And Japan, Philippines, Japan, Australia, Japan, India, or the other country, of course, India, Israel, UAE, US, the I2, U2, or the AUKUS, Australia, UK, US, or the India, Australia, Indonesia, India, Australia, France, all of these corporations consist a part of network-based security system. That's why Japan's cooperation with other is also part of US lead network-based security system. Is it a proper answer for your question? A little wrong?
It's actually brilliant. I never saw it this way, but it's actually really interesting. That is a very good development. Thank you very much. Good. That's a great answer. Thank you. The next one I wanted to ask about recently in November. There was a international fleet review in November, hosted by Japan, and interestingly, after the whole event, your prime minister took a helicopter and flew on board of the bypassing USS Ronald Reagan. However, your government seemed to downplay the whole event, which is kind of surprising. So my question is, your government kind of tried to pretend that the Ronald Reagan was just bypassing by coincidence. Why downplaying the event if there was an international fleet review? And it was a public event. So why then downplaying the cooperation and the relation with the United States?
Uh, in my in my perception, the Japanese government did not try to downplay this event, but the downplaying has happened in the Japan society, especially media, because Japan is still under the strong influence of pacifism. Pacifism has tried to hide the fact and downplay any military-related news. If Japanese people know the military-related news, Japanese will realize how important security is. In this case, Japan will be the threat that traditionally people see it. Such kind of the idea based on the cap of bottle theory. Well, what is the cap of bottle? You can imagine champagne. Um, Japan is the only threat in this region. Japan is the only threat for stability in this region. In this region, such kind of theories rarely exist in the past. So in this case, champagne is Japan. But to prevent Japan to spread, the cap is needed. Cap is the US-Japan alliance. Because of the US-Japan alliance, Japanese do not realize how important security is. That's why champagne will not spread. So that kind of idea is cap of the bottle theory. In this case, do not provide the military-related news to the Japanese. It's traditional way to maintain pacifism in Japan. So that's why this is traditional way. But recently, the Russia invade Ukraine. And this Russia's aggression in Ukraine makes the news every day in Japan. That's why people start to realize how important security. That's why the traditional idea of the cap of the bottle theory or pacifism is dying, simply said, but still survived. So Japan think US involvement is welcome. US presence based on the aircraft carrier is welcome. And every time Yokosuka is the base. So this is not new, but this is welcome. So, but at the same time, in some cases, the media do not pick up these news. For example, this Ronald Reagan joins the Keen Sword. This is very big military exercise, including the UK, the Canada, and to prepare China's invasion toward Taiwan. And at the same time, Malabar exercises also happened. The Quad country joined, all of the Quad country joined. But both cases, no news in the Japanese media, or only some news in the Japanese media. Why? Because downplaying the military-related news is a traditional way to maintain pacifism in Japan.
Thank you for watching the show. Please like it, leave a comment or share it. It helps and it means a lot to me. Thank you very much.